So, what we'll do now, we're going to explore a topic that I cover a lot in a lot of my corporate trainings that I'm doing, and that's kind of looking at the brain's negativity bias. And I love Rick Hanson's work on this. So, if you are interested in finding out more about the brain negativity bias, do a Google of Rick Hanson. But essentially, the way that we've evolved, the brain wires in negative experiences and threats far quicker than it does pleasant experiences. So I'll give an example. You go in to have your yearly review with your manager, and they tell you 9 things that they're really pleased about in terms of your performance. And then they have just one constructive criticism, something that you can improve. When you leave that meeting, what are you going to remember? The answer is pretty much always that one constructive criticism. So Rick Hanson compares the brain as Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive. So the positive just slip off, whereas the negative stick. And over time, what happens if we are not aware of this, if we don't work on balancing this out, this is going to really lead to, for some people, anxiety, and even on the road to more mental illness and depression even. So it's very, very important that we are aware of this brain negativity bias. It developed so that we could survive. It's how we evolved as human beings, to be aware of these threats. But these days, the threats that we experience aren't life-threatening like they used to be. So the threats that we are experiencing are really more to our personal construct as opposed to something that's going to do us serious harm. So what we're going to do, explore in this next practice, is how we can redress the brain's negativity bias. So as I said, the brain will wire in threats and negative experiences quicker. And these positive experiences, they go more in our short-term memory. So the negative goes straight into our long-term memory. The pleasant experiences go into our short-term memory, and they're very quickly forgotten. But there is a way that we can redress this balance, and that's by savoring and bringing our awareness to those pleasant experiences. So we have to really consciously check in, come into our bodies, acknowledge the pleasant experience so that it becomes hardwired into our long-term memory. And this is how we start to build up the positive experiences in the brain, and we start to redress this brain negativity bias. So in this practice, what we're going to do, I'm going to really just take you on a bit of a journey. We're going to be doing some visualizing, and I'm going to be asking you to bring to mind certain pleasant and positive experiences. And we're really just going to practice savoring and being with the positive emotions that we're experiencing. And before we go into this, I also just want to say mindfulness is not about feeling happy all the time. And it's not saying that happiness is the state we should be in. That's not what I'm saying at all. There's place for the plethora of emotions and experiences that we go through, the ups and downs of life. All we're doing is a practice that can help us to savor and put these positive experiences into our long-term memory so that we are aware of the good as well as the challenges that we face. So this is what this practice is all about. It's not to say we should only be happy and that we should only savor, we should only have good experiences. That's not what I'm saying at all. There's place for everything, but let's redress this balance because it is possible, but we have to do it with intention. So again, asking you just to get into a comfortable seat again, getting into a comfortable posture. I like to say a dignified pose, making sure that you're warm as well, by the way. It's quite cold here in the Netherlands today, so grabbing a blanket or a jumper if you need to, getting into your comfortable posture. I always like to roll my shoulders up to the ears and back just to give myself a little bit of length. And when you're ready, closing the eyes if you wish, or just lowering the gaze to the floor and softening the gaze, whichever you prefer. And again, taking this moment to just drop in. So you might want to connect with the feet on the floor again. Connecting with the pressure of the chair under the legs. Feeling the weight going down into your seat and into the floor, feeling grounded and connected. And also perhaps sensing this uplift in the spine. And again, just adjusting the posture if you need to. And for a moment now, inviting you to connect with the breath and the sensations and the movement of the breath. So this could be the cool air on the inhale, warm on the exhale. Perhaps the breath at the back of the throat, or the subtle rise and fall of the breath in the chest and the belly. And if the breath's not a comfortable place for you to focus, you can always choose another anchor, feet on the floor, hands in the lap. And now inviting you to notice in this moment, is there something pleasant in your experience? Perhaps it's feeling comfortable in your chair. Perhaps it's a feeling of contentment. Perhaps it's the warmth of your jumper or your room. Just taking a moment to notice anything pleasant or anything you can appreciate right now in this moment. And deliberately drawing your attention to it. It could be just this opportunity to stop and practice self-care for a moment. So tuning into your experience, just knowing it takes a few moments for us to appreciate and connect with this experience. Savoring this experience, drinking it up. Perhaps allowing yourself to feel a sense of appreciation or gratitude for whatever it is in this moment. The mind wanders. As soon as you notice, coming back to what you're savouring, in your experience right now. Perhaps you notice a smile on your lips or a warm feeling in the chest and the heart area, perhaps, or the belly. Perhaps not. Now inviting you to take a deeper inhale and exhale, letting go of your focus on the pleasant in this moment. And now inviting you to just look back on your day today, just remembering one pleasant thing that happened to you today, one positive experience. Could have been a good conversation with a friend or a colleague. Perhaps you were doing a sport you love or an activity you love. Perhaps it was time with your pet or a loved one. Could even have been a nice cappuccino or cup of tea. Taking your mind to that experience as best you can. Perhaps you can visualize it or get a sense of that experience. Bringing it to your mind's eye as vividly as you can. What happened? Who was there? What was said? What were you feeling at the time? Can you tap into that? Can you savor that experience again, appreciating that moment? And how do you feel now as you remember that experience? And perhaps where do you feel this in the body? Again, it could be a smile on the face or a warmth somewhere like the face, the chest, the belly. And let's again just take an inhale and an exhale. And let go of savoring, remembering that experience. And now inviting you to think back over the last week and just tune in to any small success that you might have had. So this could be a success at work, perhaps completing a piece of work or winning a contract, or it could be something in your private life even, getting out and doing a 5K run, completing a course. So taking a moment to reflect on any success you've had in the last week. And if you can't think of something in the last week, even the last month or the last few months. Bring your mind to an experience that gave you a sense of achievement. Again, bringing yourself back to that moment, perhaps holding it in your mind's eye, or getting a sense who was there, what was said, what happened. And how did you feel in that moment? That sense of success and achievement. What was going on? How in the emotions, the mind, the body. And as you recall this success, this achievement, and you take a moment to acknowledge it, even take a moment to congratulate yourself. How often do we congratulate our successes? Allow yourself to feel some pride in your achievement. And noticing how you feel in this moment as you recall this success. How do you feel in this moment? And now taking a deep inhale and exhale. And now inviting you to cast your mind back. Again, it could be this week, it could be this month, it could be even further back, to a moment you feel proud about. So it could be that you helped somebody in need, or it could be that you overcame a challenge. So just thinking back to something you feel proud about. Perhaps in some way giving to others of your time, helping someone, being there for a friend. Or perhaps sticking to a behavior that you know is supportive and aligned with your values, even though it's difficult to do so. So seeing if you can bring to mind this moment, something you can feel proud about. Who was involved? Could be just you, could be someone else. And again, just savouring this experience, allowing yourself to feel, to be there, to feel this sense of pride in a positive way. Pride often has negative connotations, but just taking a moment to give yourself a pat on the back for this behaviour. You're a good person. And again, as you bring yourself and recall this experience, notice how you're feeling now as you recall it. Is there any resistance to being proud and praising yourself for something good that you've done? Notice that resistance. It's okay. Just hold it in your awareness with this kind and curious attention. Again, let's take a deep inhale and longer exhale. And finally, inviting you to bring to mind a really good friend. So somebody who is always there for you, somebody who supports you, who always perhaps knows the right thing to say. Could be a family member, could be a friend, could be your partner. And maybe bring to mind the last time you were together. It may be a long time ago with all the restrictions that we have and people kind of trapped in countries and not visiting so much. So just casting your mind back to the last time you saw this person and just recall where you were, the conversations, the last positive experience you had with this person. Perhaps there were hugs and lots of laughter. There could also have been tears, but perhaps a feeling of support. So allowing yourself to feel a sense of gratitude and appreciation for this person in your life. And as you recall the last time you were with this person, noticing how you feel now. And savouring having this person in your life. Appreciating. And again, perhaps connecting with where in the body you might be able to feel this gratitude, appreciation, or even love for this person. And again, let's take a deep inhale and exhale. And just noticing how you feel right now. Having taken some time to acknowledge some of the positive experiences you've had in recent times. How was it to spend some time on this? And now inviting you to just narrow the focus again to the breath. Connecting with the movement of the sensations of the breath in the body. Expanding out and connecting with the whole body, this full body experience. Getting a sense of the room around you, and in your own time, if you had your eyes closed, opening the eyes and returning to the screen. So, this practice helps us to experience what it is to savor those positives that can so easily, like Teflon pans, slip off out of the mind. So taking this moment to really be with these experiences. Really interested to hear how that practice was, any questions that you have, what you noticed in that practice. And just to know this is something that we want to cultivate in our lives. So when we do have moments of awareness during a great experience, seeing if we can really be with it, because it takes longer than the negative experiences, but it only takes a couple of minutes for us to really be with and savor these positive experiences, for them to then start to balance out the automatic brain negativity bias. So something to be aware of, something that we can bring into our daily practice. So any questions or anything you'd like to share on that practice? And again, there's never any pressure to share either. So this is the last session of the year, as I mentioned earlier. We are moving to a new platform. We're going to be doing the sessions on Zoom moving forward, still in webinar format, but people have had challenges. Yes, so Sean's just shared a link in the chat box. That's exactly it. So overcoming the negativity bias, and that's on Rick Hanson's website. So yeah, have a Google. So much great stuff he's got, actually. So I highly recommend you checking out Rick Hanson. Thank you for sharing that, Sean. Anyone who's watching this now, you can access that link in the chat box. And yes, so we'll be moving to a new platform from the new year, but we will continue with these sessions because we love this opportunity to connect with our community. So looking forward to seeing you all in January. Have a safe and a happy period over the holidays and over Christmas, if you celebrate Christmas. And looking forward to seeing you in the new year. Thank you, everybody. And thanks for joining. Have a great evening. Thanks. And Sean, are you in the Netherlands? Are you in The Hague? Yes, we've met. Have you been on the meetups? But a long time ago. Yeah, I haven't done them in person for a long time. So, but we know each other, right? We've met. Yeah, great. Well, nice that you joined today. And yeah, hope to see you again in the new year. And I'm hoping to do some more in-person sessions when it's safe to do so. So keep an eye out on the meetup groups as well. Thanks for joining. Thank you, and have a great evening. Good evening. Good night.